Welcome to the Prospect Warehouse Podcast. Numero Trace. That's right. This is episode number 3. And for episode number 3, we have the three amigos all on this one pod. We've got John, who you can find on the X at JohnPGH. We've got Doc, who you can find on the X at Doc Eisenhower, even though John doesn't know how to spell Eisenhower for some reason. And even though he's probably the smartest guy here, he doesn't know how to spell Eisenhower.
Is that
wrong? No, I'm just
okay. I got it right. Okay.
And then you got me on X, Tim Knack at Fantasy Ace Ball. So you got the three amigos all here, all in one showing for the first time. And today on this podcast, we are going to be talking about the Minnesota Twins, which is actually one of the deepest, one of my favorite farm systems in baseball right now. So before we get into it, how you doing, my brothers from other mothers?
I'll let Doc go. Let's explain that shirt and let's talk about what's up.
Oh, this is a baby I found on the street, and the mother said, "Stop looking at my child." And I said, "I'm going to tickle." And then they said, "No." I took a picture of the baby.
Is it your baby?
Yeah, it's my baby.
All right, that's awesome. That's great.
Otherwise, I'd be the weirdest guy.
Yeah, that's
people. I have a shirt. I have a shirt of like this for my other daughter, and I used to always wear it. I've worn it more times, so I've had more experiences with it. And every time I do, people will ask me, "Is that your baby?" And I'm like,
"Yeah, it's either like it's either a somewhat normal and funny thing to do, or like the weirdest possible thing."
The weirdest thing, yeah. No, I'm just a really big fan of this baby.
Yeah. Or slightly Illuminati. Like that would be if that was not your baby, that would be a little Illuminati, I would say.
Little ditty.
Yeah,
it's exactly. Like a shower curtain almost. I saw a guy at Culver's. Do you guys know Culver's?
Yeah. I know Culver's.
Doc's an Indiana guy, but he was wearing this tank top that said "Sup, ladies," and I was like, it was like this. It's like this funny looking guy, and it was just like "Sup, ladies." So I was either like, that guy's either the coolest dude who's hilarious, and I would want to be like boys with him, or biggest douche going. Like it's all about what the purpose of the shirt is, and that's how I feel here. So
one or the other. Okay, so which one is Doc then?
Well, we know he's good now. It's
coolest guy or biggest douche.
It's his baby. He's working. He's helping us out. He's helping MLBDW out. So we'll go with coolest guy.
Okay, cool. Is that why you gave him the Archer cartoon? Because you made a cartoon for each of us, and then you gave you and me like a Bob's Burger or like Family Guy.
I don't know
cartoon, and then you made Doc look like an Archer spy.
It was all about what the screenshot I took. So I just took a screenshot of all of us from random podcasts and told ChatGPT to make a cartoon. And he happened to have like a darker shirt, so the chatbot was like, "I'll put this kind of like military looking thing." And yeah, he looked a little bit more serious than us. But
yeah, different cartoon art. He looks like from Archer or from like Johnny Quest or something like that.
I got the bat. I got ChatGPT on a weird day. I did do it on a different day, so it was in a different mood. And
then you and I are like Family Guy characters, basically.
Yeah,
it's different worlds. Different worlds.
I thought that was cool. I always thought it was lame because like there was like this phase where every Twitter sports journalist bro would like do the cartoon thing. So I never wanted to do that, and then I was like, I just did it one day. I was like, that's actually kind of cool. And we're kind of past that anyway. It's not trendy anymore, so we're fine. But look, I want to show. I don't know what you guys are. Tim's in Florida. It's hot. And then Doc's like all around the world. So he doesn't own anything. But look at my front yard. Can I just show this real quick? Isn't that just absolutely amazing?
Did you do that yourself?
I took this picture. Yeah, that's my yard. Shout out to me.
But do you mow
your own grass?
Oh, yeah, I do it all. Yeah.
Man, you got to make sure this doesn't get to the right autists. Because if you get a nice autistic guy, they just found out exactly where you live.
That would be, yeah.
Oh, you just doxed yourself. John.
All right, let's do the baseball. I had to show.
Let's get it. All right, we are going to talk about the Minnesota Twins. Doc, you got to have a way better Fargo. Yeah, let's hear it.
Well, I don't know. It's just a bunch of. It's basically Canadian. They almost talk Canadian. when they're out there. I don't know how to do Minnesota because it's not as harsh as Canadian, but it's almost there. They go up a little bit as they're talking. I don't really know how to do it. I know I can do a real Canadian accent. I can do like a real hoser, but I don't know if I'm able to moderate that. And yeah, Minnesota. I was there somewhat recently, and the real Minnesotans, they kind of go up like that. Yeah, maybe that's it. They kind of talk normal, and then they'll throw it in there. Yeah, it's almost like that.
The more north
I'm starting to get it near the end.
Yeah, it's because there's a little Midwest. It's like Canadian mixed with Midwest.
Yeah.
It's a really tall state.
Well, there's different Minnesota accent coming in these days, but it's like
tall people or tall state. There's a lot of Vikings there.
The state is very tall.
Yeah. Former Vikings. Okay, we're gonna go to the Minnesota Twins here. Number 20 is starting pitcher CJ Culpepper, who Doc. Do you still think they're brothers?
Brothers from another mother, from another race, brother. It's apparently he's white.
Yes, so he's white.
Less likely he's the son of. Yeah, he looks exceptionally white, like one of the white.
Kalen is Dante Culpepper's son. That's what we
decided.
Yeah,
I thought that they were maybe a couple like twins or something.
He looks like Trailer Park white. I don't know if is that okay to say that. I mean, we're all white, so it's okay.
If you said ghetto black, you'd be done. But you said trailer white, so you're fine. So
you're working for me. Right. We don't get. You're not going to lose your job for MLB Data Warehouse. You guys are fine, so we're good.
Yes.
We should note that these are Tim's top 20, right?
Yes, they're my top 20.
Personal top 20. This isn't
my
from
personal
website.
Top 20. Yep. Yes, exactly. Number 19 is Hendry Mendez, outfielder with the Twins. This is the guy that Doc wanted to highlight. So, Doc, talk about Mendez.
Oh, gosh, friggin' wasn't ready. Man, so I did I was doing some research into the Twins system recently, and I was ready to write this guy off because I always want to write off every player I don't know, really, because it's every prospect specifically, because it's just there's too many of them, right? So I look for the reasons why I shouldn't believe. But this guy, he's not really striking out at all. He's a really good hitter. He's made it up to the upper minors this past year. It's funny. He's got 3 different teams he's played for already at the ripe age of 21. He'll be 22 next month. But so 21 playing at AA, by the way, it's considered young for the level. So despite being in the Milwaukee, Philadelphia, and now Minnesota organizations, he was part of the Duran trade, I believe.
I have a question about that. Is that a sign? This is my ignorance. A guy getting moved around a lot. Is that a sign that there's interest there, or that people want to get rid of him?
Typically, it's not a good sign. That's what I'm trying to say. It's like typically you're like, "Ooh, that's weird," but with this guy, I think it's just a matter of circumstance. I mean, again, like what was the trade here? I don't know what the Milwaukee deal was actually, but I do know that.
I'll look it up.
Yeah, I believe he was in the Duran trade. So that's the situation where clearly he was being dealt for value, right? So he had to be worth something in that deal. He's 6'3". I don't believe he's 175 anymore. He's listed at that from the DSL days. He looks like he's more up to like 195 at least. At least 20 pounds on there. The X factor with him is going to be power because he's not actually that fast. He stole 10 bases this past year. He's not very efficient, but his hitting is unbelievable. I mean, over as in the AA last year, it was very frustrating actually if you're like OCD because he had a 299 average and a 399 OBP. You're like, bro, 0.01. Come on. You're so close. And then he registered an 86% contact rate. So very good. And again, let me repeat: 6'3", probably 190, maybe even 200. So he's got he's starting to fill out more. The power did improve this year. It went up from 3 home runs last year, so he had a lot of room for improvement. 3 home runs last year to 11 this year. It's not really where you want it to be, but that's a big jump. If he can combine this hitting ability with an improved level of power, then we could be talking about someone here interesting here. Otherwise, he's going to be a major leaguer. And I would have him probably higher than 19th on this list, to be honest.
Let me get a couple notes. Tim, if you could hit Control Plus, that could zoom in on this a little bit. You might have to click the dashboard window first, or Command Plus, whatever you're using. That might zoom in and make it a little easier. But 95 F power score there, you can see that.
Ooh.
That's 5 points below average, but it's not like horrible, right? 440 slug. Is that accurate, Tim? Like a 95 is not overly concerning for your F power?
It means that he might be like a 15 homer guy or something like that.
Okay.
But yeah, there's less variable or less. I guess like there's more spread on power than there is on like hit
Yeah.
tool,
Okay.
for instance. So like hit tool 104 is really really good. I mean, like you almost have like an 86% contact rate, so that's pretty insane.
Same number of, exact same number of strikeouts and walks there. You can see there, they're both at third. Well, not exactly the same. Lower K rate than walk rate, which you rarely see. The other one note about the dashboard stuff is this says he's 175. So I scraped this player data like pretty much whenever the guy shows up in the league, it gets his player info. It doesn't do that every day. So the weights are going to be like super unreliable for young players. So when Doc said he's 190 and you see here 175, like trust Doc there because this weight could have been from a year or two ago. And I'm sure these guys are changing weights.
They're from the DSL. Like sometimes these guys are like 6'1", 150. You look at them, you can just tell looking at a human being, they're not 150 anymore.
Yep. Yeah. So this dude, as far as the power, the issue with him is ground balls, which is why he's so far down my list here, because he's hit a 54% ground ball rate on the season, and double A with the Twins, with the Twinkies, he was at 58%. So when you're not hitting the ball in the air, you're not getting to optimal angles. So that's what really, like, honestly, if you're running an 86% contact rate, that hit tool number would generally be higher if we weren't also measuring quality contact at the same time. But because of all the ground balls, that's going to ding him a little bit in the quality contact part of the hit tool score, and then also in the power, because you can't just hit the ball hard. You also have to hit the ball in the air, as we see with like a guy like Justin Crawford as an example. So, Doc, you got anything on else on Hendry before we move on to the next player?
I think I said a lot about Hendry. We can move on.
There's one guy here, just for a little trivia here. There's one guy in the major leagues this year with a ground ball rate above 55% and at least 25 home runs. Who do you think it was?
Nutty.
Jackson Chorio.
Christian Yelich, the only one. 29 homers for Yelich on a 57% ground ball rate. It is really hard to hit for good power with a 50% or greater ground ball rate. So that's a good call out.
Yeah. Number 18 is Jay Thomason, first baseman, third baseman. He's in high A as a 23-year-old. Then we've got starting pitcher Andrew Morris, who's kind of close to the majors. And then the guy that I want to talk about is Quentin Young with the Twins. He's not going to have a lot of data here, so I'll pull him up regardless. But he's not going to have a lot of data here because he was a recent draftee. He was drafted in this last draft here, second rounder. And Quentin Young is, I want to say he's the cousin of Delman Young. So hopefully Quentin ain't throwing no bats at people. But Quentin Young is kind of like known for like, yeah, he's known for having like probably the best power outside of Jackson Holiday for any high school bats in this class. So outside of Jackson Holiday, outside of Ethan Holiday, Quentin Young has the best power. But you can see when I can finally pull this up, I'm not as nifty as John at doing this. Obviously, he's like computer Rain Man.
Well, I think I just messed you up.
Oh yeah, maybe. So let's pull him up real quick here. So Quentin Young, you're going to see that we don't have a lot of data, and then that's also going to mean that it's not going to fill out all his tabs. He is on here though. I know he is because I had him up earlier. So Quentin Young, here he is. So you could see if you're watching on YouTube, there are 0 F scores today because he does not have enough data. But yeah, 6'6", 225. You can probably take that height and weight to the bank because that's like draft height and weight, and he was just drafted. And
the stickiest stat in baseball is height. The guys are incredible. They're the same height every year. It's amazing.
That's good. You can see only 10 batted ball events. So really, like the data here, it's not much to go on. But this is a name that I'd be watching at the beginning of next year to see how he's trending. And he's a big name for FYPD. This is a guy that you can get like later in the FYPD. You don't have to nab him in the first or second round in a lot of leagues. So he's a name to watch for FYPD if you're trying to get a power guy late. So that's Quentin Young with the Twinkies. And now let's move to the next grouping here. Number 15, Kyle DeBarge is a shortstop. He was a second rounder, I want to say, last year. He was actually in my top 150 closer to the beginning of the year, but he had a really bad second half, so I bumped him down a bit. He's a speed guy. So he's mostly stolen bases, but he had a bad second half. 14 is Gabriel Gonzalez. He's been around for a hot minute. So like he was kind of a hot name back when he was down in like DSL even. And that's what happens with some of these guys. They'll be around forever. And you think they're so old, but he's still only 21. And then Doc, who was your guy? You had Fedko or Gonzalez? I can't remember. You had Gonzalez. Go ahead and talk about Gonzalez, Doc.
Gabriel Gonzalez. This guy was a darling a couple of years back. Does everyone? Well, I know that John here won't, but a lot of prospect folks hear the name Gabriel Gonzalez and they think, "Gosh, it feels like 2023 out here. Texas Rangers winning the World Series. Evan Carter still having a functional spine. The good old days." But Gabriel Gonzalez went through a major prospect plunge. People kind of soured on him. He was flashing an 18 home run season back then with 10 stolen bases, 298 average, 361 OBP. Last year combined for 5 home runs. It's not great. 5 stolen bases. And frankly, even the ratio suffered. So this, like, you lost everything. And it was understandable that he lost a lot of helium. This year was a great renaissance. He ended with a 329, 395, 513 slash line. Well, all of a sudden we're back on track, right? And I don't think that the rankings in the industry have really reflected that as much. Now, is the sexy fantasy juice really there? 15 home runs is okay. 8 stolen bases. Yeah, I'm not sure if that's going to really hold up anyway, but yeah. The question will be, again, the power. Clearly, we're seeing overall the pattern is he's looking like a good ratios guy with decent pop. So maybe, and he can take a walk.
How often do you see a 500 slugging with a K rate under 15%? I mean, that seems pretty rare. That's impressive.
Yeah, he's worth keeping an eye on.
Yeah.
What's crazy is that even despite a pretty high ground ball rate near 50%, he still managed to have 38 doubles on the year. So despite having only 15 homers, which you say only, like 15 homers is still pretty solid, 38 doubles is really good in the minors, especially considering they played less games, only 123 games. So that's a lot of doubles per game. You extrapolate that out to a 162 game total, you're talking, close to 50 doubles. That's probably 45, 46, something like that. So I like Gonzalez a lot. Hit tool first guy. I think he's the type that, like, if you're in a points league, he's gonna be a guy that's gonna be ranked higher in a points type league than in a standard league. But again, this is a name that has some fatigue. 21 years old only still. So I agree, Doc. I think don't forget about Gabriel Gonzalez here, because not only does he have a cool name that's like Gigi, but there's a lot here to like, despite maybe not having the best exit velocities. Like the 102.8 90th is below average. 110 is okay for the max. 87.6 for the average is okay, but that 90th EV is pretty low. So, like, how much power will he really get to? He might be a 15 homer guy, but that's okay if you're going to hit that many doubles. That's fine, because you can drive in a lot of guys just by hitting doubles. You don't have to necessarily be Aaron Judge and a bunch of homers.
The 90th percentile velo, Tim, is that the one you prefer to look at?
Yeah, that's actually the one. If you talk to like most people, like scouts, whatever, like almost everyone is going to prefer 90th to max, because max is like obviously like one time, yeah. Right? It's a one event. So 90th is going to get you closer to like how hard are they hitting the ball consistently. Whereas average is like, it matters a little bit, but is for like, if I feel like average EV matters more for quality of contact, and 90th matters more for power, right? So like if you're like, how can I relay these exit velocities to mean something? Average EV is just gonna matter more for your hit tool and like hitting the ball hard to like make base hits instead of just like little dribblers and crap. And then the 90th is going to be more for like, there's your home run and like ISO power.
I wonder if we're gonna get swing speed in the minors anytime.
I don't know. Maybe, but I think that if I had to pick, I'd be like, yo, just hook up stack, like hook up all this stuff for double A and high A before you go ahead and like adding like bat speed stuff. Cause like, to me, bat speed isn't.
Just give me zone contact. I want to have that kind of stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Well, we can actually get. I think I've been talking to John. We could probably get some more batted ball stuff from some of the lower stuff. You just have to steal it from other places. So it's like, let's see if we can have some of that stuff. Uh, we need to have a black market AI to jack some of this stuff. Let's move on here.
I'm gonna bounce out. I might be back, but I'll let you guys take it from here.
Okay, cool.
Good having you,
John. Good having you. Peace out. Get out of here.
I hope this doesn't ruin everything. I'm gonna hit the button, and if it ruins everything, we'll figure something out. Goodbye.
That's all right. Goodbye.
Looks like
You've been voted off the island. Number 13. This is my guy, Kyler Fedko. Fedko is pretty underrated. He had a really good season, and he's a little bit older, so you can see as we pull him up here. Oh, what? It didn't have the age on this thing. So Fedko, I want to say, is 24. And I've got to use Fangraphs because he's not on John's. The age isn't on John's thing. If you're watching, you can see exactly what I'm talking about. If you're listening, you're like, what the heck is this guy talking about? He's actually 26. So he just turned 26. He had his age 25 season. But obviously, the F scores love him. 119 power, 99 hit tool, 111 discipline, 155 speed. Durability, 120. That means he basically played a full season. Like he's playing every game. But 258, 371, 486 slash. And Fedko had 28 homers and 38 steals on the season, Doc. Like, what do you make of that? Like, he could arguably have been the best minor leaguer statistic, like back of the baseball cards statistically on the whole year. Like, who else had a 25-35? I mean, maybe like Joshua Baez. Like, there's not many guys who kind of put seasons up like that. I think Kyler Fedko is a bit underrated. And he's older, but I feel like this is a dude that's like right in the Twins' wheelhouse. The Twins are always a team that's promoting like 25, 26-year-old guys. That's just kind of like, oh, okay. Like, could he be like the next Max Kepler or something?
Yeah, maybe that's a good comp because he doesn't seem to have a lot of great averages. But he's getting the job done. Yeah, 26 years old. The concern for me would be he's never really flashed power before. But this is like a big jump. This is not for he went from 10. What the heck happened to this guy? Was he just getting? Yeah. Who was this guy? This is really weird if you look at it. 10 home runs in 2022, and then 6 home runs in 23, 3 last year, 28 this year. It's like maybe
he had 20. He had 20 bombs last year. 24. He only had 3.
No. That was this year.
Oh yeah, that was part of this year. You're right.
Yeah. So this is like, dude, they're testing this dude. You know what I'm saying? Like, because this is a crazy explosion. If he found something, he wasn't really running like he was this year either. 38 stolen bases. So yeah, I'd test this guy. Make sure he's not popping a HGH or anything. But because that's how good he was. Like those kind of, you can have that kind of like half joke. Yeah, I mean, I get it. He just turned 26. He was 25 for this year, but that doesn't explain it. It doesn't explain that big of a jump. So I'm excited. That's an exciting kind of profile. Contact rate's fine. Zone contact really good to pair with it. So yeah, I mean, as someone who wasn't really on my radar, but 6 foot 215, like that's a nice solid baseball build too.
Yeah, like you said, you hope he's more Justin Turner than D Gordon.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're going to go now down the line here and jump back into our rankings. Number 12 is Merrick Houston, who is the first-round pick for the Twins. Shortstop, more of a defensive guy than an offensive guy, but still decent bat. Number 11 is Brandon Winokur, outfielder. He had a very nice season, but the Twins are loaded. So even though you might say, how did Winokur not make the top 10? This is a really loaded org. Like this is a top 5 farm for sure in my mind. Number 10 is starting pitcher Charlie Soto. Number 9, this is the guy that you wanted to talk about in this grouping of this next 5, is Mick Abel, starting pitcher who the Twins acquired from the Phillies.
I wanted to talk about, Mick Abel there. Just because this is a guy who I could have sworn there's like sometimes in the season, folks, it's such a long, for us, it never really ends, right? If you're an quote unquote analyst, I call myself a baseball guy. There's parts of the year where I'm just not here. Like it's been happening lately. My Twitter feed is dead. I actually straight up forgot about this podcast tonight. I was like, oh, nice. I'm going to spend some time with my family. And then I was like, oh, crap. I said I would do 2 hours worth of podcasting. All right. Well, I can't back out now. It's too late. So here I am. And I remember at one point this year, I think it was like a week or two that I was kind of not as fixated on baseball. And Mick Abel came up. And Tim, am I correct that like everyone was starting to think, oh, this is the next guy? Like he's a breakout MLB pitcher. And then the next second, it like wasn't so much that. Am I correct? Like that he was
no, you're right. He came up and had a crazy start. I can't remember how many, like 8 Ks or 9 Ks or something like that in his debut. And everyone's like, oh my God, look how good this guy is. But if you follow him, then he's always had really good stuff, but he's also been very inconsistent in the past. And like, I can't remember if it was like the last time that I did rankings, but one time I comped him and I was like, he reminds me like stuff wise and like mechanics wise kind of Max Scherzer, but he's like he's so inconsistent. He's like Diamondbacks Max Scherzer, right? Like he's not Detroit Tigers and Nationals and like a Hall of Fame Max Scherzer that we think of. He is like the first year of Max Scherzer on the Diamondbacks with like a 5 ERA. That's the kind of Max Scherzer that Mick Abel is, which maybe he can get there because he's a high pedigree guy. He's had high pedigree since he was drafted. And you can see, because if you're watching on YouTube, that we have his stuff pulled up. Unfortunately, we do not have the pitching F scores yet. John still has to work on adding the pitching F scores. All the hitting F scores are all done for minors and majors. But for pitching, we do have his movement profiles and we do have his swinging strike rates on his pitches in the minors. And 12.8 for a fastball is above average. That's solid for a fastball. 15% on a slider is kind of like, that's kind of average. And then the rest of these pitches, like 13.2 for a curve is not great. 12.6 for a changeup is okay. 7.7 for a sinker, I guess, is like okay. 8.7 for a sweeper is terrible. Like if you're throwing a sweeper, you want guys swinging and missing at that. 8.7 swing strike rate for a sweeper, come on. So that's a bad pitch. Like he's got to do something with that. But he throws the fastball, and we've got movement profiles on here as well that I had John add. So we've got vertical movement and horizontal movement profiles on here. You can see the sinker, it is, has a ton of movement, 6.1 vertical and then 9.2 horizontal. So like that pitch has a lot of good movement to it. The fastball, 9 inches of vertical movement. That's not IVB. To get to IVB, which is what most people are thinking of, you have to add in like some metrics that gets rid of gravity, which John doesn't have because we don't have all that throughout the minors. So he's got to work on doing something like that since IVB is kind of more common in the vertical movement. But I I've done some experiments on it, and more or less the difference between vertical movement and IVB is somewhere between 6.8 to 8.2 inches. So you could say that he's probably somewhere between 15 to 17 inches as far as IVB. So that's your ride on that fastball, which is, average to slightly above average.
Do you think he's a reliever or you think he's a starter?
Nah, dude, he's a starter. He's a starter. And like I said, like he's volatile. Like even look at his game log here. He had an 11K 0-walk game. Like this dude is a starter and he could be good. And I feel like he's just going to be one of these guys that's going to be somewhere between like, is he a, back of rotation guy, or could he be like a number 2? Like, I think he has number 2 upside in there, but will he ever achieve that? I'm not sure. He's not like a guy that I take to the bank. You know what I mean? Like, I think there's a lot of good stuff in there, but I would not take this guy to the bank at all. Like I'd take a flyer on him 100%, but like, I don't know.
His value when it was peaking in his little brief showing in MLB, it feels like this is a tremendous buy low window if you thought that was at all real. And it sounds like you need to be buying Mick Abel since you sound like a big believer. This is a good time for you to get him.
I agree. I think it is a good time to get him because the value might be at a low at this point because all it takes is a big spring. All it takes is him going to drive line, fix some mechanics, gets more consistent, and boom. Now you've got a number 2 starter or whatever. So let's go back to our page here. We have number 8 is the guy that I'm going to talk about. That's outfielder Kalai Rosario. So let's bring him up on our screen here. This is another one. Like this is like Fedco. This is a guy who kind of like came out of nowhere and had just an amazing season. I think he's more real than Fedco. Like you had mentioned, like Fedco 3 home runs last year. So like Kalai Rosario, what he's doing, I trust a bit more. So like I said, I'm not as fast as John at this. So give me a hot second here if you're watching on YouTube. But we're going to bring up Rosario right now on the page. and we'll be able to see his F score. And by the way, if you're spelling it, it's Kala, comma I, like, or apostrophe I. So it's like Hawaiian style or something, I guess you would say. But he has a 127 power on the F scores, 97 hit, 103 discipline, 136 speed. So it's another nice power speed combo here for Rosario. He had 25 homers on the season, and he had, what did he have for steals? This is the other thing I got to get John to add on here is the steals. But he had, I think it was 32 steals on the season. So 25 homers, 32 steals. And that was in Double-A for a 22-year-old. So he was doing that a little bit young for the level. And that's good for a 132 WRC plus. So nice power speed season in 130 games for Kalai Rosario here. Very kind of under the radar. This is not a guy who's generally seen as like a top prospect, but 20, 30 seasons are hard to come by, and everything under the hood looks pretty good. He hits the ball hard. He doesn't hit the ball on the ground like some of the guys we've talked about. He has a really good air pull. Like, we don't have the data here on air pull because he wasn't at AAA, but he had a 50.1% pull rate on the season and a over 40% fly ball rate. So he's got good air pull, which means that he's getting to good power angles. So I think that everything we're seeing here is pretty consistent. Like, angles and batted ball profile are like very important for seeing how consistent someone's going to be. His biggest problem is he strikes out a lot. 27% K rate. That's not happy, right? Like, we're not happy with that. But if he can get it below 25 as a good power speed guy, I really like Rosario. What do you think about it, Doc?
Yeah, I mean, the numbers there look pretty exciting. Power, speed. His contact rate's okay. It's fine. Like, it passes the test. The only thing we got to look out for is the strikeout rate, which was at over 30% last year at Double-A. And then this year it was 27.5%. So that's okay, but you just got to watch out, right? Because let's just say he gets promoted tomorrow. You're going to assume he's not going to stay at 27. You're going to assume it's going to get up a little bit. So this is a classic case of a guy who, where you can't rule him out yet, but his whole minor league career actually has been hovering around or over the 30% strikeout doomsday line. So we'll see. This is the profile, if you're able to go 25, like, teams will put up with that. But if you get closer to 35% or higher K rate, now it's like, it's interesting, right? Just that 5% is magical. It can turn you into kind of useless really quick. So
yeah, he reminds me of an Astros prospect, except I think the contact rate's a little bit better. But like, every Astros prospect has like the same exact profile. I feel like.
Also, Joe Adell had a really breakout year. Yeah, so this year he was 26% strikeout rates. That's it, right? It's even the guy who, like, we all kind of mock, still having, even with his breakout year at a 293 OBP. That's amazing. 37 bombs. It's a great year for him, but again, like, it doesn't leave a lot of wiggle room for cold streaks or slumps. If you're in Major League Baseball and you're striking out way more than Joe Adell, well, you better be putting up Joe Adell sexy numbers, right? Or playing for the Angels, where they're like, we'll take what we can get. So it'll be interesting. High risk, high reward.
Yep. Number 7 is starting pitcher Connor Prielipp, who actually still isn't in my top 150. I like Prielipp a lot, even though his season was kind of weird. He didn't pitch a lot of innings because he was coming off of surgery, and they like really, really babied him. But he had good numbers. They just like super babied him. Number 6, I've got starting pitcher Kendry Rojas, who came over from the Jays in the Varland. Was that a Varland deal? Or yeah, it was. So Rojas, I like a lot. He actually struggled though when he came over. Had a very, very good season with the Blue Jays, and then when he came over to the Twins, struggled. And I'm like, okay, that might just be him moving, and he wasn't expecting it, and it just like threw him off. So like, I wouldn't take too much, to me, I'm like, okay, whatever, who cares? Because he's a good pitcher. He's right on the verge too of getting a call up, so he's pretty close proximity wise. I think Kendry Rojas is kind of an underrated name for proximity pitchers. So for next year, if you're looking for like the next Cam Schlittler or the next Troy Melton, who had a really good start, or a really good series so far, like, those are guys that, Kendry's a guy who could be like that next guy. So who's kind of like under the radar. So we're going to dig into the top 5 here and talk about the top 5 in a little bit more detail. Number 5 is Dason Hill, and that's a guy that I saw live. I actually saw his first ever career pro start. So let's bring up Dason Hill here on the on John's thing. If I can maneuver again the share screen back from this to this. Dason Hill. And actually, we're going to have pitch level data on Dason Hill. Why? Because he pitched in the Florida State League. So Dason Hill, looking at his pitch level data here, you can see that this dude throws the ball very hard. He's a lanky lefty. He has to work on his command, but a 3.17 JAERA, and his stuff has some ridiculous movement. Like, look at this fastball right here. Doc, his fastball, he's thrown 95 and a half, and he's got 10 inches of vertical movement before gravity. So when you add that induced vertical break on there, that's like a 17 to 19 inch induced vertical break, that's crazy. So like he's got a ton of good movement, and you could see it. Like when I watched him, I was like, oh my God, this guy, like I had no idea who this guy was when I first saw him, because he was like, I think he was like a 3rd round pick or something like that. And I'm like, Dason Hill, who the hell is this guy? And I watched him, and like the first batter that I saw him throwing, I was like, oh my God, this guy's going to be a star. Like he's amazing. But his stuff is crazy. So he's got a changeup, 19.3% swing strike rate on the changeup this year. The fastball, again, great movement, 14.6% swing strike rate is very good for a fastball. And then the curve, 21.6 swing strike rate on the curve. Slider is like kind of an average pitch at 82 miles an hour, only 14.9 swing strike. So that's probably a good 50. But when you're talking about fastball changeup and then the curve with him, he's a guy to watch, Dason Hill. What do you think about Hill?
Yeah, no, he's been a guy who's been popping this year. I saw some of his pitching, and I'm like, yeah, this guy's all right, man. He's skinny. He needs to put on some weight, but good projectable frame, 6'5". He says he's listed at 165. I mean, it's been a few months. He's a teenager, so literally in a few months, like that's the kind of time where you could put on some weight. It's less likely during the season, but this is someone where he had a really good debut. I believe this was his first year. No, second year? First year, yeah.
First year.
This is his first year in minor league baseball. Of course, the command wasn't exactly where you want it to be, going almost about 6 walks per 9. But the strikeout rate, that's like a strikeout rate for a teenager where you're like, we got time. We can figure this out. He's got a strong arsenal, diverse in the right way. And so it'll be interesting. I don't know. I got a good feeling about this kid. He's from I could have sworn he was from Mississippi. Looks like he might be actually from Texas. But yeah, good Southern kid. So yeah, I think he's someone who maybe was peaking up and getting a lot of hype. But as of right now, I'm not sure he's being valued even where he should be, which is like this is a kind of profile where you could see him become like a top 10 pitching prospect one day. That's the upside.
Yeah, for sure. I mean,
as soon as maybe at the end of next year, I mean, he's already at high A, so it's going to take some work. He'll have to do better than a 5.4. 10 innings there, but yeah, you'll have to have him work on that walk rate. Basically, if you work on the walk rate heading and get up to AA next year, like that would be really, really interesting at a young age.
Yep, follow that Thomas White yellow brick road that he already laid down. Basically, is what you want to do. So now we got 4 hitters. Next on the list, number 4 is Emmanuel Rodriguez, who, like, for me last year at this time, he was like a potential top 10 prospect. He's really fallen off for me. Like injuries, yeah. He didn't debut this year when he probably should have, yeah. And then, like, he hasn't fixed some of the problems that he's had. He's kind of just been the same guy. So, like, he hits the ball really hard. He runs pretty well. He's got a great eye. Like, he takes a ton of walks. But there's almost like a little bit too much passivity at the plate here where like you want to almost see him get more aggressive in the zone. So if you're looking on YouTube, you can see that, or X or whatever we're watching on, you can see he's got a 118 power for an F score, 95 hit tool, 112 discipline, and 109 speed. So this is another guy who like might do better in points leagues because he's going to have power and speed and take a bunch of walks, but he's going to strike out a bunch, and the contact rate is hovering in the mid 60s. So that is not great, but he still is young. He's still 22.6 age. So like, he's still pretty young. It's not like he's like at a point where he's washed. I think the main thing for him is like, I just want to see health more than even like him improving the contact rate. Cause you can live with that contact rate with his power and speed, Like we just talked about exit velocities with some other guys. Look at this exit velocity here, Doc. He's almost got a 90th average, or a 90 mile per hour average. The 90th EV is 1089. That's insane. That's like higher than Basayo. That's like Nick Kurtz level EV90. Max velo is 113.6. Now he doesn't have Nick Kurtz launch angle, so only an 8-degree average launch angle, but 11.6 barrel. So he's making very quality contact when he does hit the ball, despite a lower contact rate. So that's going to help a bit, but he's still definitely striking out way too much, and he's got to get over those injuries. What do you think about Emmanuel?
It's just annoying, right? It's again, like is it possible to really be an organizational thing? Like, because it seems like it's from every layer of the minor leagues up to the major leagues, they've had serious injury issues with so many of their players. Emrod, I think we're going to see him plummet down lists this year, down ranks. Like last year, he was up there in the top 20 in a lot of ranks. I mean, at one point, I think I had him in my top 10 of non-debuted. Maybe that was a year or so ago, but he's got that upside. There's no doubting it, but we need to see him put in a full season. Put anywhere close to a full season. And yeah, it's just getting to be a very consistent pattern with him. I have him in one league. I'm trying to think if I traded him or not. I might have been able to trade him. It was like him or Yordan Alvarez. Same kind of deal, not the same deal, but like that. But that's like, a similar situation of very talented individuals. We'll see if Emmanuel can ever be that good in MLB. John would probably be losing his mind hearing a comp like that. They're not very similar profiles either, but in terms of value, what? I'm talking about Yordan Alvarez. Oh, there it is. Yeah, so I said Yordan Alvarez, I don't like him as a dynasty asset because just the health's not there. I don't care how good he is if you're missing a bunch of games. You're unreliable, especially in head-to-head.
That doesn't make me lose my mind. I'm okay.
Well, I said I kind of comped him to Emmanuel Rodriguez, some prospect who's never played a single game in MLB baseball. So, and their profiles are not even remotely similar. But in terms of the value, if Emmanuel Rodriguez stayed healthy, we could be looking at a real game changer for fantasy. I will point out, though, his contact rate's garbage. It's below 70. I don't like that. His zone's not really good either. And yeah, so and again, the K rate's over 30. So he walks a ton, walks over 20% of the time. So this is a guy who is in a situation where it can be corrected with finding some more aggression and finding balance to that profile. I mean, is that a bad thing to pursue if he's already got a north of 30 strikeout rate? I don't know. There's a lot of problems here, and I don't want any part of Emmanuel Rodriguez. I would be jumping ship and selling high if you still can, because I think it's going to, at the very least, be an adjustment situation at MLB.
Should just swing more. A 37% swing rate is insane. Yeah. I can't actually stay. I just came down here to get my computer, and then I was going to leave you to it, but then I heard you guys, whatever you were talking about, so I had to jump back in.
Summoned you.
Yeah.
The swing rate. Why don't you just swing more? I don't understand. 37% is insane, but I got to go.
Well, but the thing is, if he's still striking out a ton, that means something's really wrong with the approach in general.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, he's way too passive. That's his problem. And I heard James Anderson comp him and say he's fast Max Muncy, which I think is a great comp for a guy like this. It makes a lot of sense. He could probably run a higher batting average because he is fast than a Max Muncy, for instance. But number 3, let's jump to number 3. It's Eduardo Tait. This is another guy that I saw in person this year. And we were making fun of it. We were like, Tate, but it's actually Tait. I learned. But I love this dude. I think the power is insane. He's only 19. And look at that F score power, 124 power, 105 hit, 95 discipline, 34 speed. So this guy's speed is atrocious. But I comped him. I'm like, this is like a lefty Contreras. But you can see he has good contact rates. He's running a 76.6% contact rate. For a 19-year-old who hit A-ball or high A this year is really good. 84.2 is zone contact. So he has a good hit tool, and he gets really good angles on it. 10% barrel rate, very high quality contact, 32.6 sweet spot. And then air pull is good too. 17% air pull is above average. The 105.9 90th percentile EV is insane. So the league average MLB player has a 104 EV90. And this guy's 19 with a 1059 and a max EV of 113.8 and then a 16-degree average launch angle. Like, I think that this dude could be just a superb power hitter. And I guess the question would be, are they going to keep him a catcher? Or are they going to let him kind of like do this catcher, first base DH type thing, maybe like Agustin Ramirez, because the bat is really good. This is a bat that you like don't want to limit to like only catcher reps, I think. What do you think about Taiit?
Oh man, I wrote something on him. I can't find what it was. It's very frustrating. I don't know what's going on. But Taiit was like this shiny prospect with the Phillies, right? I think he was their chosen one, their replacement for Real Muto. And so
yeah, we talked about him early in the year, like really early in the year, and we were calling him Tate, and we were making fun. We were making fun of. We were making fun of Clegg and Cross for calling him Taiit, and we're like, "Come on, man, this is we were like, "This is Phillies, this is Jersey." You were like, "It's tight," like. So, but yeah, we totally botched that name. But
I'm calling him Tate again now. So Edward Tate, he's so it's kind of like it's been like a little bit of an ebb this year. He's still just so young, right? So he just turned 19 about a month ago, and so the jury's not out. Catcher is a tough position to figure out, but he came in last year having 11 home runs. They're considering last year. Yeah, he played, I guess, most of last year as a 17-year-old. That was the crazy part. 17-year-old with 11 home runs, right? Very interesting and pretty good ratios. This year at high A, especially now, what the heck? Same OBP with both Philly and Minnesota. That's random. But yeah, very low OBP this year. Ran into some struggles. So he had a 253 batting average on the year here in 2025 and 311 OBP. And it got worse at high A. It was a tough go at high A. But again, like he played this year at 18 years old. So I'm not throwing him out yet. Contact rates are fine. Strikeout rates went way up with Minnesota. You got to wonder if Philly was starting to see some red flags and they sold high. I don't know. But I have a hard time fully throwing him out yet because he's a teenager. He's shown some really good pop. But in terms of dynasty leagues, catcher is a tough position. And so it could be years, right, until we see him in the major leagues. If you believed in him before as like an elite prospect, though, this is a great time. I think there's a lot of oxygen in the room is that the right saying? I don't know. I think a lot of the hype's been taken away from this character, Eduardo Tate.
I love him, man. I'm a big fan. So the next guy we're going to talk about is Dante Culpepper's son, which you guys taught me. I didn't even know that. So Kalen Culpepper, shortstop with the Twins, big season this year after being a first-round pick from Kansas State, which is why that's why I had no connection. I'm like, why is an NFL quarterback's son gonna go to friggin' Kansas of all places, like the worst state in the world?
Whoa, there's worse states, dude.
No. I remember. You may not know this, but I went to Mizzou, so I'm a Missouri fan, and we hate Kansas. We even hate Kansas State. That's how much we hate Kansas. That Kansas State is just gets reciprocal hate. It gets the hate that has like, moved past.
Would you rather live in Kansas or Portland?
Oh God, dude.
There you go.
Neither. Pass. I choose what is it? What is it when the Japanese guys kill themselves? What is that called?
Seppuku.
Yeah, seppuku.
I'll take the endless sunflower fields over like homeless needles and whatever the heck else is going on there.
Yeah, I probably would too. I would just definitely buy a horse and like, I don't know. I would turn into a cowboy in Kansas. But anyway, Kalen Culpepper, F scores 117 power, 102 hit, 105 discipline, 123 speed, 121 durability. So we've talked a lot about some guys that have some nice power speed. Like I said, the Twins org is pretty good. Culpepper is like we talked about. Okay, so Kalai Rosario is the safer version of Fedco. Culpepper is the safest version of them all. Culpepper has near a 76% contact rate. He doesn't strike out nearly as much as Kalai Rosario, only a 17% K rate. So he definitely has better plate skills and keeps that in check. One thing that I kind of like wonder about with him is 50% ground ball rate on the season. So it's interesting because it's very rare, as John had kind of brought up before, to find, guys who hit homers and then also hit the ball on the ground at that rate. So 20 home runs, 25 steals, but a 50% ground ball rate. So I think that he's probably going to have to adjust the profile a bit to avoid running into like not being able to hit for as much power as he did this year. But I really love this dude, man. At 22 in AA, 285 batting average, putting up 2025. That's pretty sick. For kind of an underrated guy from the last draft class, which was a really, really good draft class, but like pretty underrated. They didn't even give him $4 million, man. He got less than $4 million signing bonus, and look how good he's been.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of I struggle to figure out. Like, I don't get too excited about Minnesota, the team in general. So some of their prospects kind of fly under my radar, but it's hard to. I also like to find things to point out, little holes to poke and narratives. But I don't know. I struggle to really find that with him. It looks like to me like he's got the power, he's got the speed. Yeah, he's running efficiently. He's doing it at AA. He's got good ratios, good back of that baseball card. He's got the bloodlines of an athlete. Contact rates are fine. I think he's probably underrated. Like he's got to be a top 50 prospect, isn't he?
For me, I've got him in the top 35. I actually picked him when we did the P180P with Welsh. I picked him in that draft, I think, and I got him in like the 5th round. I was like, oh man, that's a steal. So I got him in like the 50s, even though I have him ranked like 34, 35.
For him. Like I took him in a league. Like I got some like rogue deal offered to me at the deadline before my life turned upside down. And Fresh Prince of Bel-Air reference. Does he say? I think he says flip turned upside down. Whatever. And yeah, I'm pretty sure that's the only share I have is some guy just basically he was going for Cody Bellinger, the 30-teamer, and he gave me a bunch of prospects. And I think Culpepper might have been one of them. I hope so, because yeah, he looks really good. So yeah, I don't really know. Yeah, it's not like he hasn't been one of my guys, but looking at the profile, you're just like this. I think that's kind of how I felt with him all year. I'm just like, yeah, really good, really good. But now this like I'll probably have to put out some ranks before the season. Well, at some point, So I just don't see how you see this and say he's not a top 50 prospect.
Yeah, for sure. Number 1 on the list here is Walker Jenkins, outfielder with the Twins, who's still a top 10 prospect for me. A lot of people are like dropping him off the top 10. So like, oh, he's not doing enough, blah, blah, blah. He's just really good at everything. So when you look at the F scores, 107 power, 106 hit, 110 discipline, 117 speed. And people don't like him. Why? Because he's not, flashily hitting like a ton of bombs or a ton of steals, but he's just so good across the board. 78% contact rate, but 82.1 zone. I think those are things that are going to trend up. You could see how much better he was in A-ball, but he's still only 20. So I think these are things that are going to trend back closer to what he was doing in A-ball once he gets settled in some. He doesn't chase, and he walks, but not too much. So he's more aggressive in the zone. You see a 46% swing rate. So he's in 67 in the zone. So he's swinging a lot more than a guy like Emmanuel Rodriguez. So he doesn't have these like over passivity problems. And then on the season, if you're looking at the back of the baseball card stuff, you have to remember that he was hurt. So he started late. He was hurt. And then he started performing better as he started getting healthy. So like he came in and he started off a little bit slow when he first came in, but he was performing better as the year went on. And this is a dude who made it all the way to AAA this year, Doc. I don't think a lot of people realize that. He had 102 plate appearances in AAA as a 20-year-old. So you have to figure in a little bit of age to level bump when you're looking at these numbers for him, because he was 20 years old in AAA. So I think that people need to cut Walker Jenkins a break here. Like, to me, he's like easily a top 10 prospect. And people are down on him. I see people pushing him even outside of the top 25. And to me, that's crazy. It's like, yeah, he's not as flashy. He's not doing the thing with 50 steals like Connor Griffin. He's not doing the thing with 30 bombs. But he's just consistent at everything. And I think at the end of the day, as long as health is maintained for him and he doesn't have injury problems, he's going to be like just a rock. You know what I mean? Like, he's going to be like a 2020 rock. He could be like a Christian Yelich, where he's like, it's reliable. Every year you're getting the same thing. There's some of these guys that are like second round, right? Like I don't know if he'll ever be a first round, like Connor Griffin, like a first round fantasy guy in a redraft league. But I feel like he could be like one of these second round kind of like boring guys that just like does the same thing. Maybe he's Freddie Freeman in the outfield, right? Like that's sick. You'll take that all day. What do you think about Walker?
Yeah, I think you're right. And again, like we talk about, 22 is technically young for Double A. Like, what's a 20-year-old, right? Played this whole year as a 20-year-old, and honestly, I think a lot of the helium went out when he was starting to get banged up because it's just it's the Twins thing, right? It's scary. It's like, oh gosh, this is going to happen again, and we start to get concerned. It was around the same time that Emmanuel Rodriguez was getting hurt again, so it seems like he kind of went past that as the season went on. The power, again, actually like is improving. It's not like improving the way you're dreaming of it. 6 home runs to 10 home runs, but that's something. And again, like he's ripping doubles. He's 6'3", 210. Like he's built. He looks like how they're supposed to look like in scout talk. A little bit too many strikeouts, not walking as much in AAA this year. That's like actually crazy. I'm sitting here saying, yeah, 20 is young for AA. You're exactly right. 20 is incredibly young for AAA, one step away from the major leagues, dude. And I'm even me right now. I'm like, oh, he could have been a little better. Like, I mean, he almost got a 9% walk rate and even 25% strikeout rate. It's fine for a 20-year-old to get. That's way off what he was doing everywhere else, obviously. But he's in AAA. That's not where he's going to be up. That's not who he's been, as you kind of said and alluded to. So overall, last year though, he still had great numbers. I think it maybe Freddie Freeman's interesting in that. Like it's going to be. It's easy. It's better to bet on a guy who's like a pure hitter, who's really good at hitting baseballs, than someone who's just like pure, like, just power slugger and hoping he's going to find a hit tool one day. It usually doesn't go that way. Usually that's the riskier path. And I'll also point out, I personally, when he first got drafted, I was like, yeah, he looks just like a big guy. I'm like, he's going to fill out. He's not going to steal as much. And maybe that still will happen. But as of now, I mean, 17 stolen bases again this year after doing it last year as well. Both years, pretty efficient with his stealing. Like I always look at efficiency to see if they're going to get that green light in the major leagues. It's not 100%, but like if you are like Cole Young, remember he was coming up and he was getting caught stolen like just as much as he stole a base. I'm like, major leagues will not, like a manager will not give that guy the green light if he's not doing it properly. So Walker Jenkins is like, this could really be a 2020 bat. Yeah, maybe that's not your, like you said, 25 or 30. Like I think he's probably going to hit 25 home runs at peak in that ballpark. I think he's going to be a Freddie Freeman type of power, but there's going to be more speed than Freddie Freeman. The question will be, is the hit tool as elite as Freddie? We don't know yet because he's being thrown in to such high levels at this young age. It's a great time to buy Walker Jenkins, in my opinion. I don't think it's an easy top 10. I think he's near the end of the top 10 for me. Might even be 11. I don't know. I have to really sort it out. But I think last time I checked, I think he was number 10 for me.
Yeah, I think that's about right. So let's see if I can. Oh, not cover our face. I'm not, like I said, I'm not as good as
maybe 8. I don't know. He's up there, but yeah, it's the back end. I think it's great.
Yeah, exactly.
More.
I think that's where I've got him at like 8 or 9 or something. Yeah. So looking at this list here, is there any name that you would really move up or move down or anything in this top 20 here before we sign off?
Yeah. So Mendez, I got him way up. My face is over it now, but there's just probably some other people. I think Gabriel Gonzalez. Fedko, I'd move Winokur down. Winokur, and unless he really turned things around real quick, he was, last time I checked, he was really not performing well, striking out a lot. Like he was one of those really toolsy young guys, but I could have sworn he was just striking out way too much. And it looks like that basically was he wasn't striking out too much, but yeah, his just not making contact. Yeah, his contact rates are awful. Yes, he's making strides. He's making strides, but I wouldn't have it. Like that's a project. 6'6", 210. That's a project, and he could just take a while longer. But I would have him behind guys like Fedko and Gonzalez and Mendez personally.
Yeah, he's just so much fun. But yeah, there's a ton of swing and miss. He ran like a over 17% swing strike rate. So like there's a ton of swing and miss there, but he still had 17 bombs and 26 steals. And like that's you like you said, 6'6", 210. Like that is so fun. Yeah. So that's the Twins. You can follow Doc on X at Doc Eisenhower. You can follow me on X at Fantasy Aceball. and make sure you sign up for MLB Data Warehouse so you can get all the fun tools and like all the stuff that John makes, all the crazy data stuff. So if you don't subscribe, you don't get it. Peace out, everybody. See you next time.